I'm going to try to leave you with two emotions today. That's my objective of this talk. And the first one starts with a phone call that I had last week with my grandmother. My grandmother is 88 years old and she lives in a old people's house in Breda, a city in the south of the country. And when I was talking to her out of the blue, she started rambling about the dark world, the future, all the negative things in the world. She was talking about Assad, about Obama. None of them could be trusted, especially not also Russia, those kind of things. But also more close to home, she discussed that the Dutch government is inequipped to do their job, and also the police and mayors with the foreigners and all the people coming in are not equipped and ill-equipped to do something about it. And I felt so sorry for her, but this is what you feel, right? If you watch the news and if you watch all this information, and actually as an urban developer, it's only going to get worse. Globalization and urbanization are going to go up and up and up, which means that these problems will be amplified in the future. So when my grandmother was born, somewhere in the 20s of the last century, there were about 2 billion people in the world, out of which 25% lived in cities, a quarter. And I will probably at the end of this century leave behind a world in which 9 billion people will live in cities. 75% will live in cities, 9 billion people will be here in the world. So this enormous growth of people, and this creates sort of a black hole of problems in the city, right? So I think the end is near. No, so this was the introduction, and I'm curious how you feel now. But this is not my opinion, and this is not how I want to perceive the world. Actually, I want to be more optimistic about the future, and I am more optimistic about the future. Immanuel Kant said that optimism is a moral duty, and I believe in that, and I also think that we should work towards it. I also have some scientific backings in this. It's the negativity bias. If you read a newspaper, if you look into the news on TV, the chances are, if you read something negative, that it's 30 times better contained in your mind. So bad news we remember 30 times better than good news. And this is maybe why also my grandmother is fearful, and maybe why other people might also be fearful. Right? I, however, think that we're living in a bright new world. There's a lot of opportunity. Who of you has a phone? Could you please get it out of your pocket and like this thing? Right? Yeah, everyone has a smartphone. This is a supercomputer. Could you open your apps and just read what kind of apps you're having on your phone? I mean, it does your banking. Maybe it does your mindfulness. It probably also maybe has you to read books, or maybe there's. You could order taxis with it, or maybe a house to rent. This thing has so much potential, and there's so much solutions also enclosed within this phone, and also within this time. So that is something that I would like to share with my grandfather, how many beautiful opportunities there are. However, solutions are not the problem. I think we all think that the solutions are the things that are going to save us, and probably eventually they will, but solutions are not the problem at this time. Because of this exponential age where we're living in, solutions are there. And the point is, in the 20s, when my grandmother was born, we thought that we could control nature, right? Maybe the avant-garde time, controlling nature. In the 50s, we thought we could control society through cities. And currently, we think that we can control humanity through data. And I disagree with that. It's not about the solutions, and we can't. I think we will go back maybe towards the other side. And the other side for me is the questions. It's the side of asking the right questions. So it's not about the solutions. We need to ask the right questions. And to make this this time, if we look back at this time in the future, maybe in 20, 30, 40 years, I think this will be the age of solutionism. And in the future, I hope that we go back a little bit more toward maybe questionalism, or more towards the qualitative side, because it's all about the qualitative side in humans. If you make it more concrete, if you look into cities, where I'm trained in, cities are very much approached in a way of infrastructure. So it's about energy infrastructure, it's about water, it's about waste. There's all these flows, there's all these metabolisms of natural resources. But I think what we should do is we should focus more on the human infrastructure. So we should invest and train and stimulate the people that are living in the city, because they build up the city. So my call for you is that we focus not on the solutions and not on the infrastructure of the city, but on the people, and getting the right people together at the right time and stimulating them to endeavor in a process of constructive dialogue, but maybe even further, a productive dialogue. And how do we do this? Let's make it a little bit more concrete. I think we should create peer-to-peer learning environments. Environments for citizens to meet each other, living labs, places where people can meet and interact and develop their ideas, and also experiment with these things. And I think you are the ones that can do that and should do that. And myself, here in the city of The Hague, we're at the University of Leiden, we develop educational programs, and every year I work with about 70 to 100 students who all start local initiatives. Initiatives here in the city that try to tackle and cope with local challenges. So there's a radical local process in there, and we're trying to get these young people together and put them in a process of constructive dialogue. Two examples here which I'd like to share with you is one of them, it's an initiative that came out last year, it's Crazy Greens. Crazy Greens, they buy up odd-looking vegetables that would have been thrown away and they sell it to fellow students, reducing waste. The second one is Knock, which is an online application actually to make you more offline aware and actually make you interact more offline. So these kind of ideas is what we need, and we don't need them from policymakers or maybe industry, we need them from you. And that's what we should focus on. So, to recap, I would say that I understand maybe the fear, but I think we should be optimistic. I understand that there's a lot of solutions at hand, but we should ask the right questions. I think that is where we should work on and what we should focus on in the next few minutes also in our discussion. And I've been asked to give you also an action, a call for action, and I thought about what would I share with you. There's this great philosopher from Australia, maybe you might know him. His name is Tim Minchin, and he came up with this idea about ambition. I mean, we're all ambitious, right? We all want to do things in the world. We all want to maybe change things in the world. But what he says is that big ambitions are hollow and are shallow, because once you get there, you might forget the journey. So what he says is become micro-ambitious and try to pursue short-term goals and do it with all your passion and all your purpose that you can get. And through that is where true happiness is. Thank you. Since I'm also talking about the productive dialogue, or doing and getting stuff done, and taking matters in your own hands, or being an active citizen, I would like you all to get the phone out of your pocket if you don't have it yet. And let's just, for the next 2 or 3 minutes, all call our grandmother or mother and really just tell her about a really cool thing that you experienced in the last week, something that you did. So I think we should do this to show that we can actually empower ourselves and have that purpose. Do be sure that if you get her on the phone, be sure that you tell her that you will hang up within a few minutes, and that you will call her again tonight, and then explain the whole story. So let's just do it all now. Who has a phone? But it's so easy to talk about these things, but you really have to do them.
Dus dat de vrouw, die zat op een tafel. En de tafel.
So this is what active citizenship feels like. You can talk about these things, but you can also just do them. And I think that people in government, or also you yourself as a person, should focus on getting things done. And then also you as a professional can also get things done. But I think those two things go hand in hand.
Thank you, Sjoerd Louwaars.